Let's talk about money, real money, not manifest your dreams kind of money, not, oh my God, if you just will it, it'll arrive, like real money talk, because the photography industry is rife with people talking about this stuff, but not really talking about it. So in today's episode, we're actually going to talk about money. Every photography YouTube channel has something about passive income. I think I've even got one. Yeah, it's great. Passive income. Let's do passive income. Great, great. Sell presets, sell an ebook, cross your fingers. And look, I've done it. The problem is that nobody's talking about the stuff that keeps the lights on, the stuff that keeps the wolf from the door, stuff that perhaps you could do while you're starting out or at least trying to level up as a business. Perhaps the unglamorous, slightly awkward stuff. So here are the things. I think it's seven that have helped me move the needle. Is that the right term? Move the needle. That's the talk they like, right? One is a bit more obscure, but it's me, so you expect that, right? I'm going to put that last because it's the one most of you don't want to do, and it's very cliche to put it last. So if you want to go, just go to the end and watch it, but it's important to do it last. Okay, point one. The rebooking window. Most photographers, what they do is they do the session with the client. They say tally bye to the session. They might say a follow-up, but do you ask them to rebook in the session with you? Particularly works well with customers who are perhaps branding customers or business customers, people that you're doing the social media for or their headshots for. Like, hey, let's circle back, book you in. I do it. Your headshots, you're going to do your headshots every year. Let's book you back in for next year. Let's get you sorted for next year. So it's in the diary, or every quarter. That's how I've got one client that books her headshots in 3 times a year in advance. Like, it's good. Because what you want to do is get them when they're in like that, oh my God, I look amazing, I'm having an amazing time. Get them in that shot. I get them in that process. So then when they go, okay, yeah, I do want to book in with you, Khandie. Of course I want to book in with you. So then they book in with you. It's always good to mention. It's like if you're doing newborn photography and perhaps you're going, hey, do you want to do your 1 year mark? Do you want to do baby's day to school? That kind of stuff. Like, you've really got to think about where else could people book in with. This is a perfect opportunity. 2, the client data audit. I know, right? Audit. It's similar to the rebooking, but it's like after the fact. So you already know clients have booked in with you. They're happy with their work. They've enjoyed working with you. Have you gone back and checked, hey, why haven't they rebooked for a second shot, and drop them a message? Go back in and say, hey, you know, we did this shoot, blah, blah, blah. Is it time for a refresh? I'd really like to touch base with you. Let's do something else. Let's update your imagery. It's been a while. It's always just really nice. It also shows that client that you're thinking of them and you're thinking of their business, which is a really nice way of getting a segue in. If you haven't got a list of who your clients are, this is why you need Studio Ninja or a similar client management software. I use them all the time. It's something I really like. I harp on about it. There is a discount code in the description of this video below. But for me, going back through my clients, I can see who paid when and what they bought from me. And then maybe I could go back and circle back and say, hey, do you want to book in? Right. Number 3, retainers over one-off quotes. This is very good if you do branding, headshots, any sort of stuff that's like that, because business people really like that. The idea is they pay a retainer. So it's, you know, because it's less admin once you've got them on board. It's less admin. You can just keep working, which is why I have my thing called the business subscription model, where they pay me every quarter and I just go in, do the photography and then leave again. It's like, because every new quote is like a negotiation. Okay. So certain clients, I will say, hey, let's talk about a retainer. A retainer could be like, you set, you know, you can even work with like some of your fashion bloggy girls or content creators. Like, you say, hey, we're going to do this many shoots each time. Why don't you just pay a rolling fee and then we constantly have this done? It's a really good way of doing it. And I have to say it has worked. I've got some of my content creator, blogger influencers on that. I've also got, majority though, are business owners who want to be on that because I go in and shoot all their social media for them. So it's really good for them. But having a retainer means that I've constantly got that workflow coming in and the work is there. And the admin's already been set up when I got them as a client first. Okay. So I'm not having to do additional admin. That money's just coming in for me. It's a great little earner. Point 4, something that I think a lot of us are not doing, I think it's really good, is splitting the usage rights from the invoice, like have it as a separate line item. I know it's going to surprise a lot of people because most photographers just whack it in, but I think when it comes to bigger clients, you certainly need to detail it out. I just recently quoted for a client. It was somewhere in the realms of £6,000. They wanted licenses to use it in a national newspaper and a magazine. I then took that out and gave them an additional cost for that because obviously my image is going to be used a hell of a lot more by a lot more people and be seen by a lot more people. So I decided that I was going to do it separately. I know a lot of people don't sit very comfortable with it, but it's very, very common in the commercial world. It's a big difference between using something for social media and then something going on a billboard, or something being used for their website going in a national newspaper. It's a very different usage, right? So yes, I do recommend doing that. And I know a lot of people are like, I'm not sure about that. You don't have to do all these, but I do think it's one that photographers really overlook because they feel like that kind of stuff is only for a certain type of photographer. But honestly, you need to be looking into this. Point 5 is a non-competing referral program. Now, please understand, I'm not asking photographers to refer me. I'm talking like venue planners, venues, event planners, florists, hairdressers, people who are not other photographers referring me. And then that means I get work from them and I give them a small percentage. It's a way in which you refer them, they refer you, and you get this little bit of extra of marketing. I will say it's a bit slower to build than, say, posting all the time, but it is one that so often if someone really likes a makeup artist and someone says, hey, I worked with this person before, they're really great to work with, it can give you a little bit of a step up than someone who might just simply comment on a Facebook post looking for a photographer. It also does not become dependent on the algorithm loving what you do. It's literally someone with their own voice and their own marketing saying, hey, I really like this photographer. I have done it in the past. I will just say there are certain venues that say that they'll refer you on and they want a percentage of the invoice. That's fine if you're happy to negotiate that. But I also don't want us to go down the rabbit hole where we have venues that will only allow with their preferred suppliers, because I think that's a really bad thing. But you're normally just chucking a couple of quid at each photographer, each referral. So I think sometimes it's 20, 30, 50 quid done. And that's negligible for me, so it's fine. But I think it's a really good way to refer. Even if you, like, I've done it with headshot clients. Like, hey, I've said, hey, if you refer me and they book me within 6 months, or was it within 6 weeks, 6 months, something like that, and they mention you, I will give you 50 quid off your next headshot session. And when they do book in, I let the client know, hey, your client booked in, so it's 50 quid off your next session, or whatever it is, or a free image for every client, something like ridiculous. Okay, that's what I do. I think it works really well with like stationery companies, and but I wouldn't give it to other photographers. I want people who do not compete with what I do. Okay, so yeah. 6, the direct email, which I know strikes the fear of love of God in all of you, but directly emailing the clients. Why don't you just send them an email saying, hey, I'm available for work. I would really like you to work with me. Come along and work with me. Pay me. I'm sure it's not quite as direct as that, but why not kind of be direct? Just be honest. Like, I've got space this month. Here's what I can do for you. Let's get you sorted. I mean, this is why you have a client management software, so you can get all their emails, right? And 7, the one that I say is a little bit obscure. It's the lost quote look. Lost quote look? The lost quote audit. Every now and then we quote for a job, right? And the quote goes off and we go, hey, we never heard from them. Why did we never hear from them? And you're like, why? And it's probably down to budget, if I'm honest, because they don't realize that, they soon realize that they don't have the budget for it. Or perhaps your quote wasn't quite what they were looking for. I would just email them, not say, hey, I'm just curious as to why you didn't go ahead with me. It's just to help me understand for client management maybe later on. And you might be surprised what they say back. They might say, hey, you're way out of our budget, or we just didn't think you were that professional, which is always hard to hear. We just didn't think you were capable. We weren't interested in what you were doing. And do you know what's really funny? I have done that in the past when I was a bit low on funds, and one of the clients said it wasn't anything to do with you. It was just that this other photographer could shoot before you. I was like, okay, no worries. Well, please keep me in mind for future references. And they're like, okay, well, 2 weeks after I sent that email, that client came back with a massive headshot request. They wanted me to come and do it because I had sort of refreshed myself in their brain. So these are some of the things that you should be doing. Okay, it's not very nice to do that one though. I will say it's not for the faint of heart. None of these are sexy. None of these are going to appear on some TikTok thing where some boss baby is going to be like, oh my God, these are the best things to ever do. But I think they are things that we need to be doing and we are missing doing. Okay, so from me to you, please go and do these. Now, if you do want to go in deeper on the whole business side of photography, yes, subscribe to my channel is exemplary, but also check out my podcast, The Loud Lens, where we discuss all these sorts of things. And I'll even answer your questions and make a whole episode all about your question to help you understand it better and give you the answer, obviously. But from now until then, I'll see you all in the next video. Take care of you.